Growth. We're working in the context of growth. This is a graph of the increase in population over time. You know, since the dawn of humanity, how many humans exist on the planet? Do you see the shape of that curve? It's rocketing up. It wasn't so very long that there weren't so very many of us, and now very quickly happened that there are twice as many of us. 35 years, that's all it takes. 35 years, if we were growing at just 2%, there would be twice as many of us. Anybody managing money knows that. A 2% interest rate means your money doubles in 35 years. This is the mathematical context in which we're operating. So is growth good or bad? I don't know. The growth of mobile phones seems to be pretty good. The growth of CO2 seems to be pretty bad. You know? So it's not that it's that we need to manage growth of a really extraordinary nature. This is a different graph. This graph is of carbon dioxide emissions since the dawn of the industrial era. It looks like that. This is the increase in number of cars. This is a graph of the spread of computers through the world. This is species extinctions since humanity began to spread itself around the earth. Mobile phones and their usage globally. This one is the number of sustainability officers in global corporations. And that's essentially what we're talking about. We're talking about this race against time with enormous growth happening. Enormous growth happening. Now, I'm not here with any kind of an anti-growth agenda, quite frankly. I'm here with a radical redevelopment agenda, that we rethink what we're talking about when we talk about growth. I'm not talking about reductions, for example, in economic growth, because what is economic growth? Economic growth is the flow of dollars through our communities. The problem right now is that our dollars are connected to increasing amounts of stuff, like CO2 flowing into the atmosphere. It is entirely possible to imagine economies that are incredibly prosperous in terms of dollar value, in terms of our capacity to move and do things, create, enjoy life, be healthy, without the same pressure that we're putting on planet Earth. And in fact, the Dutch call that decoupling. They're actively working on separating their physical flow-throughs from their monetary values, and they're beginning to do it. What we're trying to do is get from this curve away from curves that go like that. That's the collapse thing. And more to curves that look like this. In other words, where we grow to some kind of equilibrium level. And then we stay within certain boundaries. Managing growth is the issue here, because growth at an exponential level is really hard to manage. What percent does something have to grow to be growing exponentially? Could be 5%, could be 1%, could be any percent. Any percent at all produces a curve like this. Managing these curves is the central challenge of sustainability.